Hello everyone, it's Nancy Amato, the Be More Stamper. Welcome, welcome. Today is Saturday, February 17th already. Oh my goodness, where has February gone? So today, I want to use the Detailed Dogwood stamp set from Celebration because since it is February 17th already, Celebration only lasts through the end of February. So I want to show you things that you can make with the Celebration goodies that you can earn for qualifying orders. Now, Detailed Dogwood is in the back part of this Celebration brochure. This is a stamp set that you can earn right here for, pardon me, a $100 purchase, okay? So it is on page 15 of the Celebration brochure. So we are going to play with that one today, but I love the style of this stamp set and how well it pairs with some of our products in the January through April mini catalog as well. So we're kind of doing a little combination card today. We are going to use some of the Nature's Sweetness 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. And you can see this on page 41 of the January through April mini catalog. Plus, we're going to use this bundle here. Let me flip the page and it's easier to see. We're going to use the Notes of Nature bundle. The only things we're really going to pull from that are these two teeny tiny little dies down here. And I'll show them to you in just a second. And we're pulling out this greeting, this happy birthday greeting. Okay? Alrighty, so let's get started. This paper is really gorgeous. I am not usually a gold foil fan, but I do love this paper. All right, so let's get started. Let me show you what we're going to make today. So here is the card. And isn't that dogwood gorgeous? And it coordinates so nicely with the style of this designer series paper, and we're making a birthday card. Okay, so when we open this up, we have the little dragonfly stamp from the Detailed Dogwood right here. Okay, you see that dragonfly at the bottom? And then we have these little die cut sprigs here, and those are from the Nature's Sweetness dies. So let me show you those dies real quickly. Let's see, I had them all stacked up. Here we go, peeps. Here we go, here we go. Notes of Nature dies. So we are using this little sprig here and this little sprig. Okay, so those are the dies I used to cut out those white little sprigs. And then for our vellum circle, I use the new Everyday Details die. So this vellum circle behind the dogwood, I love these dies. Oh my goodness. So I used this largest circle, and you can see it already has those little teeny tiny holes punched around it. So that is what we used to cut out our vellum. Alrighty, let's get started. Okay, so here is what we're going to need today. And I have my stack right here. So we need a piece of basic white cardstock. This is going to be for our card base. This one measures 5.5 by 6, and we're going to score it right here at 4 1/4. Okay, so right there at 4 1/4. We're also going to need a piece of the Designer Series paper, and this one measures 3 by 5.5. I'm going to flip this light up just a bit because it seems like it's a little glary. Okay, so this is 3 by 5.5. And then our other little piece of Designer Series paper is 1 1/4 by 5.5. Alrighty, so we're putting those aside. For our greeting, our happy birthday greeting, we need a piece of basic white that is 3 1/2 by 3/4 inches wide. We're going to need an envelope, of course. And then we need some scraps, and I've already done the die cutting. So here are those 2 sprigs. So you need a little bit of scrap basic white, which you will have when you cut this card down. So you can use that for your die cutting. You're also going to need scrap to stamp your dogwood. Now you're probably saying, hang on a second, that dogwood does not have dies with it, and you are correct. You can either use your snips to fussy cut all the way around the edge of this die cut, this stamped image of the dogwood blossoms, or luckily a very dear friend gifted me a Brother Scan & Cut a few years back, and I'm going to tell you, I love that little machine. So what it does is it can recognize a solid outline. You scan the image in, it saves that image, and then you can tell it to cut out all the way around. So I am not a big fan of fussy cutting. My hands don't work as well as they used to when I was younger. So that is how I did that cut around all of this flower. If you do not have a friend that has one of those machines, or you don't have that machine yourself, you can always use your trusty snips just to cut all the way around. It isn't that complicated of a fussy cutting. So there you go. So that's how I got that. And then the last piece we're going to need is some vellum for our circle die cut. And this piece was about 3.5 by 3.5. Okay. All right. So let me take off all the Post-it notes because we don't want to stick those down to our project, right? All righty. Let's get started. So first thing we're going to do for the inside of our card, I just stamped this little dragonfly, okay, right here in the bottom. We're going to do all of our stamping first and then assemble the card. So the color we're using today is Pebbled Path, and this color coordinates with the Designer Series paper that we've chosen here. Pebbled Path is one of our new colors that is part of the core color collection, okay? So here is the dragonfly stamp from the Detailed Dogwood, which is that Celebration stamp set. So I'm just going to put a dragonfly right there. All right, I'm going to bring our envelope in because I want to put a dragonfly on the flap, and then I want to use that Detailed Dogwood with the image with the buds for the front. So let's slide this over. Here's our envelope. I just want a little dragonfly kind of flying at an angle right there. Now let's flip this around. That's the flap. Let's put this image of the dogwood buds onto the front. Okay, so that is ready to stamp. There we go. Oh my gosh, that is so gorgeous. I love that. While our ink is open, I'm going to move these dirty stamps right over here out of my way. Let's pull in our greeting and our little strip of paper that we're going to stamp the greeting on. Now, again, the greeting came from the Notes of Nature stamp set. the Detailed Dogwood does not have any greeting in it, okay? It is just all artwork there. So the greeting came from Notes of Nature, and this is a birthday stamp here. Today is all about you. Happy birthday. So we're just going to center that right on there. Okay, there we are. And our stamping is finished. Alrighty. So I can put this away. Move that over there. I will clean them in a second. Now, you'll notice that this greeting here is notched on either end. And I use the Banner's Pick-a-Punch to do that. I'm going to line it up in the bed right here. This punch can accommodate a 1/2 inch strip, a 3/4 inch strip, or a 1 inch strip. So this 3/4 inch strip is going to go like right in the center of the bed there. I'm going to push it all the way in and then punch down, and when it comes out, it has that nice notched edge. And then there's that little piece right there. All right, we're going to do the same thing again. Now, of course, you can always notch your edges first and then stamp, totally up to you. I have to say, out of all of my punches, this one is my go-to for greetings because I just love having that little notch on either edge there. It just gives it a little something something when we're finished. All right, so we have our envelope stamped. I'm going to put that over here. There is our greeting. We have our little dragonfly inside. That is already stamped. So now it's time to build our card. Now, this piece of designer series paper is going to make up the rest of the front of the card. Okay, so you can see when we open this, you can always see the back side of the designer series paper as well. So this is kind of a great way to show off both sides of our beautiful designer series paper. All right, I'm going to use my Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue once again, and I am just going to be putting some little dots of glue. Not a lot because we don't want it to squish out. Alrighty, let me show you close up once I finish this. We're just going up right along that edge. Okay. So it is actually a sunny day here. So I know I'm getting a little bit of a glare. So let me tilt this. All right, can you see all those little glue, liquid glue dots? Yes, okay. We want to keep our card folded because what we are going to do is lay this paper down, and I like to flip it this way. It's just a little easier to use. Make sure my paper is going right side up. Yep. And then lay my paper down, matching up the corners and the edges. Okay, so all of this corner is flush right here. This corner is flush right here. Alrighty. And the edges, and now I can just lay that right on top of those glue specks there that we had. And now we have our card front, okay? That is the easiest way to do that. Now we have this space left over here. So this is going to get covered up with our other piece of designer series paper. So I'm going to just do a thin bead of glue right along the back of that. And then line that up. This one edge is butting right up against the first piece of designer series paper. Okay, and then we just push that down. And then this is how we get our card front. Alrighty. Next layer we're going to do is our vellum circle. And let me bring in the completed card here so we have that as a frame of reference. So we are going to put our vellum circle just a little bit higher than center. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of glue, not much, right there on my card front. And then I'm going to push my vellum circle right into it. Now you'll see as I push this down and spread out that liquid glue, you are going to see it through the vellum, but that is okay because we are going to be covering that up with our Detailed Dogwood image. Okay, so that is why I just used a little bit of glue, of the liquid glue, because I knew once I pressed that down and spread that out, that that liquid glue was really going to spread. Alrighty. Okay, let's pull out our cutout Detailed Dogwood. So when we place this onto this card, we're going to make sure that we are not putting anything in the way of tucking those two little sprigs in there, okay? So we are going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals, of course, because you know, I love Stampin' Dimensionals, but we don't want to put any on the back in the center part here. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to avoid dimensionals being right in this area. So I'm going to put one there, one down here, one here, and then I'm going to tuck another one right behind there. So I'm leaving this area open so that we can tuck those little sprigs underneath of there. Okay, if we put a dimensional here, then it's going to be really hard to get those sprigs under there where we want them. Alrighty, peel off the little wax papers to expose the adhesive. And now we can just lay our dogwood down, and you see how that is covering up that glue spot that was created with our liquid glue. Alrighty, I am going to bring in my silicone craft sheet here because now I need to add some glue to the back sides of these little sprigs. So this sprig is going to go underneath right here, and then the smaller sprig is going to go underneath the dogwood right at the top. All right, so I'm going to flip these over to the back sides, and again I'm using my liquid glue, and I just want to put teeny tiny little dots. You don't need much, okay? And I'm going to put that on the back of some of the lower leaves here and the stem. All right, that is good. You can also just even use a sponge or a Q-tip or whatever to spread that out a little bit, but we really don't need to do that today. I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool because that is going to help me lift this up. It's like surgery. So I'm going to lift this part up because I want to tuck that under there. Alrighty, there we go. And now I can just use my Take Your Pick tool to just push those down and reach under there and push that down. Alrighty, same thing with, I'm going to prop this up a little bit. Same thing with these leaves. I'm kind of using the Take Your Pick tool like a jack, like a tire jack, okay? And I'm going to put that under there. And I want this to be on top of here. So I'm going to lift that up. And then I also want this thing, I'm going to use the putty end. I also want this sprig to be on top. There we go. Okay. All right, so now I can just push that all down. I have these little sprigs on top where I want them. I think that just gives it a little bit of texture, a little bit of detail there, okay? If you would like, you could, just put a little glue underneath of where that leaf is going to lay, and I mean little teeny bit, not even hardly visible. There we go. If you want to keep that one right there. And just press and hold that for a quick second so that it will grab. All right, now it's time to add our stamped greeting. And right now, this is just flat, and I want to give it a little bit of oomph to it. So I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm going to hold it with the greeting facing up, and then just give it a very slight curve in the middle. I mean, hardly, you can see, it's hardly a curve when I lay it down like that. Alrighty? So that is when the words are facing up. Then I'm going to flip it over so the words are facing down. And I'm going to do the same thing to the little notched edges. Okay? And do the same thing on this side. It is just the slightest little curve, but when you look at it from above, you can kind of just see that little bit of a wave. Alrighty, we're going to pull in our Stampin' Dimensionals one more time here. And I'm going to put these on the back right there, on either side, kind of where they would come closest to the card. All right, so remove these little pieces of wax paper so we expose the adhesive. Oh, make sure your greeting is right side up. Did you see me? I was almost putting it upside down. Yep, that's how I roll. And then we're just going to attach it to the front of the card right there. Okay, so when you look at this card, it has a little bit of lift, a little bit of texture. Let's see if I can get a good shot showing down. You can see it's just a little bit, but it is still going to fit inside of our envelope and be able to be mailed through the postal system. Okay, so it's not that much of a lift, it's just a slight little bend. Alrighty, so that is our card today. So we combined the Detailed Dogwood with the Notes of Nature because they're similar in style, I think at least. And we used the Nature Sweetness Designer Series paper as well. So when we're looking at the Detailed Dogwood stamp set, I just want to point out that this little tag punch, this little image here, coordinates with one of our punches as well. So let me show you what that looks like. I haven't even put the labels on most of these yet, but let's look. Here is the stamp. So I can just pull in, let me carefully pry that off of that one because I didn't clean the stamps yet. And let me just bring in a little scrap of paper and grab our ink pad one more time. Okay, doesn't really matter which way I do it because we're just going to punch it out. So there we go. So that image coordinates with our, and gosh, I can't remember the name of this one. I know it coordinates with our alphabet stamp set. And it is in our annual catalog. So look at that. Whoops, let's flip it over. So that image coordinates with this punch that is in our annual catalog as well. I love the way things are always coordinating with other products that you may already have, and that gives you a lot more mileage from your products. Alrighty, so again, we used Pebbled Path ink for this, the Nature's Sweetness Designer Series paper, and then the Notes of Nature bundle. We used the dies for those 2 sprigs and then the greeting was pulled right here for our card. So I hope you enjoyed this. I apologize for being a little missing in action the past couple weeks, or at least week. I've been busy getting ready for a big event. Next Saturday, I will be at a crop all day for my one of my favorite charities, Oncology Support Services at my cancer hospital. So I will not be live next Saturday. I will pop on live next Sunday, probably in the afternoon. I'll let you guys know. But here is our card today with the coordinating envelope. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you. If you need catalogs, I can send those to you as well, as long as you're in the U.S. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and I will talk with you soon.
Bye-bye.